Our producer Jilly doing a heck of a job, and the Doge police back out patrolling the streets of D.C. as a new report reveals the Biden administration spent more than $1 trillion on government waste this year. For more on this, let's bring in author of Rights and Freedoms in Peril, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So Senator Rand Paul says that he was Doge before Doge was cool. Let's hear from him.
Ultimately, it takes Congress. Congress has to get rid of the spending. Doge can point out the spending problems and the waste the same way I've been pointing it out. But the reason it's not eliminated is they don't have the votes to get rid of the spending. So I am very hopeful that Doge will draw attention to this.
So, Tom, Senator Paul welcomes Doge and hopes the attention it draws will help cut the waste in the government.
Yeah, this is money we don't have to spend. And when you look at Senator Rand Paul's list, what struck me about it is, A, how needless the expenses are. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, the obsession with DEI. Mm-hmm. And there's money being spent to segregate bird watchers. President Trump has to be Dr. No when it comes to spending. We're broke. Deficit spending increases debt, obviously. And that's why we have inflation. It's excessive government spending. So in D.C., practically speaking, we can't cut enough money. And so we need to change the arc of spending, and it's easily doable. And what's frustrating is it's still not being done.
All right, Senator Rand Paul came out with this Festivus report. Let's put a couple examples on the screen, uncovering taxpayers paying to fund a motion sickness study for kittens and more than $7 million for various magical projects. Does anyone actually approve this stuff, Tom?
Well, these are grants approved by the bureaucracies and the agencies. And none of this happens without necessarily the approval of Congress one way or the other. So it's not like this isn't available to the public. Senator Rand Paul's probably going to usaspending.gov, and it's easily findable by any member of Congress. So there's zero excuses in this day and age to allow this type of wasteful spending to occur. This is someone's tax dollars that has been confiscated or taken. And not only are we paying for it through taxes today, but our children and grandchildren will pay for it because that is being financed over generations.
There remains the huge controversy over the origins of COVID, and anyone who suggested it may have been a lab leak in China that caused all this mess was really pushed back hard. Was that to cover for embarrassment, Tom?
You know, when you look at gain of function in China, you see a key funder of it was Fauci's NIH, the NIAID. And gain of function, to the degree it contributed to the emergence of COVID-19, that would be a major scandal. Mm-hmm. And so there was this interest in covering up the scandal. And now we're seeing from the Wall Street Journal and other reports that the FBI was involved, knew that there was something going on. The Pentagon key scientists had done their own analysis, found it likely to be an engineered virus. Certainly, Judicial Watch, we uncovered documents. The Fauci's people knew that mutant coronaviruses, and that's the phrase they use, mutants, were being created in China with our taxpayer funding back in 2016.
To your point, former FBI scientist Jason Bannon to the Wall Street Journal on the FBI not being asked to attend a White House briefing, quote, being the only agency that assessed a laboratory origin was more likely, and the agency that expressed the highest level of confidence in its analysis of the source of the pandemic, we anticipated the FBI would be asked to attend the briefing. I find it surprising that the White House didn't ask. What's your assessment of that?
Well, this is a presidential briefing, so they weren't even allowed to talk to Biden about it. To me, there needs to be a serious criminal investigation as to what went on here. Because despite gain of function being funded, it wasn't supposed to be funded through this grant. And what was behind the fraudulent use of this money, it looks to me, there needs to be a serious investigation. The FBI began looking at this in 2020, by the way. What happened?
Right. Tom Fitton, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome, Mike.